Welcome back to Hippie Bliss Travel. Today we're out exploring Santa Barbara. It's kind of our last day of our vacation before we head home. And we're just going out and explore some of the beaches and driving along the waterfront and stuff. And actually, our whole time in Santa Barbara, it was pretty overcast and upper 60s, maybe some low 70s, but actually pretty chilly overall. And here we are pulling into a parking lot. And the other parking lot we just drove by, that was packed. But there was another parking lot down here um, that had plenty of parking. Here we are strolling on the beach.
Well,
Santa Barbara.
I'm not taking the shelf because I'm not 100% sure there's not something in it.
Yeah. Yeah, we headed out on a stroll and well, we thought we were just going to take a little stroll. We didn't, have a, let's go this far or anything. We just started walking. And then we started looking at all the interesting rocks and stuff we found. And then we realized we had walked 45 minutes to an hour almost. It wasn't quite an hour, but one way. Then we decided, well, okay, now we'll have to walk back, I guess. And that was all right because on the way back, we found more interesting stuff that we missed on the first time. And then, yeah, there were multiple sets of stairs. This one, I'm not sure if it went to somebody's house. Most of them went to people's property. And they had, gates at the bottom of their stairs. But you look at them and you go, oh, that would be a workout. And of course, we made sure we put our feet in the water.
I got a picture. I don't care if he's moving in my picture. I just wanted a picture.
The coloring on that crab is beautiful.
Good one.
I know there's a lot of pictures of these rocks, but they're pretty cool. And I think it's something totally different than what we find up here on the Oregon coast. I think that's why we found them so fascinating. It was just like, ooh, look at this. Ooh, look at that one. Ooh, look at this. Because it's just something different than what we have up here. And no, I have no idea what type of rocks these are. If you know what type they are down in the Santa Barbara area, leave a comment down below. Let me know what type of rocks these are. And then we started the stroll back. And if you look up that far corner rock way up there, walked, we had to walk up and around there. And it turns out there was a restaurant at this beach. And when we got back, it was about lunchtime, and it was, quite full. Some of the food must be good. You can always tell when the locals all eat there. It's pretty good food. And this is around the parking lot where we parked. So this parking lot completely packed. Just came out of the bathroom and the guy was following me down. He's like, "Are you heading out?" I go, "Yeah, but I'm parked in this section down here where there's no one parked, or very few of us." And he's like, "Oh, okay." And so he kept creeping around, and in fact, somebody did back out so we could get a spot. It's not like it's an extra mile to walk. And look, there's a self-service dog wash. As soon as I go even, I'll get it for you. Let's come over here and check it out. Oh, it's out of service, but huh. I had never seen a self-service dog wash like that before, but it makes sense getting the sand off the paws and stuff. But here we are driving back into Santa Barbara. We make a few more stops. It's just part of the road and along the coast. Like afternoon sun now and then.
Well, the first day we were here, we had like for about 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yesterday we had sun at like 4:30.
Yeah, 4:35. Yeah. It's just afternoon, and
It
it's
was like the day was essentially winding down.
this was our next stop as we came into town. It was like a park there, walk along a beach. We went for a mile or so. You're kind of elevated above the beach because you're kind of looking over um, the bluff. And yeah, there was lots of signs about warning, and you can see where the erosion, the land is creeping um, back away. But yeah, some of the spots we stopped, I think we made couple more stops. But yeah, they had nice concrete stairs down to the beach. This was looking down over Santa Barbara. I like that rock down there, how it sticks out. Even though it was cloudy and overcast, it was still a wonderful day walking. It was beautiful walking. It was a nice slight ocean breeze. It was right about the 70-ish mark, temperature wise. You had a nice windbreaker on and you just walked. It was easy walking. A flat level overall, even along the beach that we were at earlier. Yeah, just for out of curiosity, I went to Chat GPT and inputted, some history of Santa Barbara. And it came up with 6 different time frames. And the first one, indigenous people pre-1542, was the Chumash people were the original inhabitants for thousands of years. And then it says Spanish exploration and colonization, 1542 to 1821. And it's got, 1542, an explorer Juan Rodriguez Cabrillo sailed along the coast but did not land. And then it talks about the 1700s, the mission starting in 1786. And then it jumps to the Mexican period, 1821 through 1848, how Mexican won independence from Spain in 1821, California became part of Mexico. Then it goes to 1848 to 1900 is considered the American era and statehood. 1848, after the Mexican-American War, California became a U.S. territory. And then in 1850, California achieved statehood. And then let's see, the next time frame is 1900 through the 1930s is early 20th century and earthquake. 1825 earthquake, a massive quake destroyed much of downtown. The city rebuilt in a cohesive Spanish colonial revival style, which still defines its appearance today. And then mid to late 20th century, let's see, a 1969 major oil spill off the coast near Platform A triggered the modern environmental movement and led to national environmental legislation. And then it's the 21st century, where Santa Barbara is known for its Mediterranean climate, historic architecture, coastal beauty, and cultural richness. Yes, we pretty much drove from one side of the city, past through the waterfront area or the beachfront area to a beach on the other side of the city. But this one was cool because this one is the one where they had all the like volleyball nets up. Not just one or two, but they had dozens of them. And there must have been a field trip because we came across a group of probably looked like middle school kids hanging out at the beach. And then before we left, as we were walking back toward the car, they were all heading back. They had chaperones with them, and the school must have been within walking distance. Now, this was the middle of June, beginning to mid-June, so school would just be getting out in some parts of the country. So we took it as a end of school field trip at the beach afternoon is what it was. But yeah, we got out, we walked along again, nice, easy, relatively easy walk. And I think here's some of the volleyball nets that they had up, and there was dozens of them. We didn't go quite as far as the earlier walk, but we took a nice half-hour walk. And then we went out to dinner, and it was going to be our last dinner before we left Santa Barbara. So I said, I wanted that dinner to be seafood. So we found Brophy Bros. Uh, by this time we were getting a little chilly, but we sat outside. Again, the place was packed, go where the locals go. And the clam chowder was delicious. And yeah, we had some nice fish. And then after that, we headed down oh, yeah, where we were sitting up there. It must have been some type of like a sailboat, they're small sailboats. I don't know, maybe a dozen of them came in with just a few minutes apart. You could see them all coming into the marina we were sitting at. And some of them went what would be our left. Um, and they, had their boats moored and they went and tied them up. But several of them we sat and watched were lifting them up and like hauling them off on a trailer. Now I know regular boats. I inherited one from a Bayliner from my brother, so I know about towing those out of the water. But a sailboat, I'd never seen this done before, and we found it fascinating as we were sitting there. This was why we were waiting for our food. And yeah, it was just interesting to watch. As we're sitting there and we're like, so wait, they're taking them out of the water. They're putting them on these little carts. We're thinking, are they going to tow them home like you would a normal boat? But then you're like, with that mast hanging up, you know how tall it is. You can't fit under bridges and stuff. So it looks like they had these little electronic carts that just kind of pulled them off to the side instead of keeping them in the water. They just kept them at the docks. I think that's what was going on, but I can't be sure. But it was sure fun to sit and watch. And the last stop we're going to do in Santa Barbara is head on down to Stearns Wharf. Little history about the Stearns Wharf that in 1872, a businessman with the last name Stearns built Stearns Wharf. It's the oldest working wooden wharf in California. It says in 1878, a severe storm caused, it says a Chinese junk, which I'm assuming is some type of boat or ship, to crash into the wharf, destroying about 1,000 feet of decking. And then shortly after, a rare tornado added more damage. The wharf was closed for 2.5 years during World War II. And then in, what is it, a fire in 1973 consumed the famed Harbor Restaurant and closed the wharf for 8 years. It reopened in 1981 as a tourist destination. And then I think I was reading it is Santa Barbara's #1 tourist attraction is the wharf. And see, it stretches 2,300 feet, supported by 2,307 pilings, and it houses 17 businesses. There's your history lesson for today. And after this, we're just heading back to the hotel. And this is going to wrap up our trip or our stop in Santa Barbara. So thank you for watching Hippie Bliss Travel. If you made it to the end, give us a like and a subscribe. And I hope to see you next week. Bye.